Get this done. You'll be out here till 5 in the morning.
No. I'm gonna try and figure out which bolt goes in which hole. This ought to be exciting. Let's bitch in the hole and see what we got. Come on.
Where's your little bolt?
Huh? Oh, it fell out?
Yeah.
Okay. At this point in time, it's probably A-okay.
This reminds me when I used to help Dad working on his stuff. Hand me a 9/16. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. So I'd hand him something. Nope. Nope.
Guess again. Come on, baby. Start in that hole. That old Ford Falcon I had with a Plymouth motor in it. It was. I got to learn the difference in the motors between Chevy and Ford and Chrysler. If these use the same lineage and the guys that put them together originally, they the metal that goes in the castings in these is some of the hardest, best cast iron there is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's...
In the old motors, well, you see it in like 383s and all those motors in the old days. You'd see them when they come in, and you pull a head off of them and look at the wear in the block, and they'd have a couple of 100,000 miles on them, and they have no sign of wear in the block.
Huh.
Which is very cool. Protect your engine.
So we got the bottom hose.
Yeah.
Because it is so hard to get to and to deal with if something goes wrong. Top hose you can tape or get off the road somewhere and get it fixed, but the bottom hose is another story. So we got the bottom hose. So this little guy, which hoses,
that holds
hoses.
That holds AC lines.
AC lines.
So they don't.
It goes on which one? Oh, that one.
That stud that sticks out of the head.
Okay, like that.
Yeah.
Okay. See what Mike was cooking in there? You like fillets?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he's cooking. He only cooks that when royalty's around. I wonder what he's thinking. Jeez.
And
You put the same thermostat back in there?
yeah, because they're without that piece in there to keep it from bypassing or plugging the bypass side, it will not cool. On Detroit has stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then this radiator is cross flow. So on a Detroit they add stuff on cross flows just for the same reason. They plug the bypass side of the, or restrict it so that it has to pull water through the core. Because if you don't do that, it'll sit there and move water and do all that trick shit and nothing gets cool.
Cool.
It just
Do you think
awesome.
it's a possibility that that plug blew because
that plug doesn't have shit to do with anything.
it didn't? It didn't. That's not where it was leaking.
It's tied into that bearing in the front end, and I don't know what it does, whether it lets the water out or it's got a way to filter the air so it doesn't get full of dirt. Because what they'll do, the weep holes in them will plug, and like I thought I saw the weep hole in the top of it.
Well, Joe, the reason I'm asking is because when Sean, the guy who's COVID now,
Yeah.
when he was testing this to see if there were any leaks on the radiator and all that, and he left it overnight under a pressure test, and it didn't leak anywhere. But he said this radiator cap is got to go. It's not the right one for this. And so he put that one on there that was
That
on
18 pounder.
Yeah. Do you think that whoever put that cap on there, which was where I bought this over at Jeep, do you think that they put that on there because they know that there's too much pressure in there and it's going to cause problems?
I'm gonna guess they didn't put anything on it. Oh, because they will charge you as much as they can and put as least into it as possible, and they'll charge you for this and this and this and this, and then none of it's on it.
Well, they put a pump on there. I know they did.
Well, yeah, I know we had to take it off.
But the cap that was on there was like really just a
Floppy.
Yep.
That part's okay.
That's what I'm saying. Was that okay? Because then after we changed the cap to an 18 pounder, that big old leak started going.
So, I hate Chevrolets in a way that you can't even understand. I tolerate them because so many people enjoy them and like them. And I have some myself because I try and make believe that that's going to work out for me, and it doesn't. So the end result there is you're going to have the radiators that they made for the square-bodied Chevys, mid early 70s, late 70s. The things were so thin, and they had 16-pound caps on them, and they get so hot that they do this. They just breathe. Every time the thermostat opened up, they just go, ooh, ooh, ooh. And they had so much pressure on them that they just stretch out tight and it'd break them. Break the tanks on them, breaks the core, the headers in them. $400 radiator. Next.
So somebody gets to go buy a new $400 radiator.
You could just keep chucking them babies in there, and you got tired of doing it. And I was around lots of guys that were Chevy guys, and he goes, yeah, just take that cap and throw that piece of shit away and put in about a 10 pounder and it'll be fine. And it makes absolute sense.
It does. That's why I asked that question.
Because you can't.
Because there's a reason why it started doing this.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Sure.
And it was a cap. That was the only change there was a cap. Not blaming Sean because he went with what they say.
It's so the whole deal in all of this is you have to be smarter than the guys are that built this, which means
why do you think that they want to keep selling you shit?
Keep bending you over? Yeah.
You think that's what their whole...
Well, you were at O'Reilly's. They had them lined up there and just pounding it to them.
Yeah.
And the dealers are even... Some of them guys aren't too bad, the dealers, because they're people just like everybody else, and they actually do really good work. But some of them guys are just bandits.
Anybody named Leon is a bandit.
Screwing people.
So are you saying to me that when I took my Mercedes over to Mercedes,
Yeah.
and the mechanic told me he wouldn't work on it, he was doing me a favor?
Could be.
Could be. He told me, he goes, you can do this stuff yourself. We're going to put the same crap back in it
that
that
came out of
you
it.
had in it, and it's going to go bad again. I'm telling you, when I bought that thing new, the shocks would go down when it got cold. And it would say, pull over.
That was a new car?
That was a new car. Pull over, vehicle too low. Pull over, vehicle too low.
Yeah.
That was when it was brand new. So you're not supposed to drive it. So I had to pull over and go, okay, what do I do? Push the air where it raises the shocks up to full height.
So
then I'd be able to go a little while.
So, okay, the old man had the same problem. He bought a 58 Lincoln in the 60s, early 60s.
Yeah.
Air ride.
Yeah.
Air ride. The headlights that dim themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. No, that wasn't a bad car. The problem with it was that they the stuff was like unbelievably high priced. On the Cadillac, underneath the dash, there's like a big choke cable or PTO cable.
Yeah.
And you'd pull it if you were in some spot where it was too close to the ground and got high centered, and the old car would just go whoop. No shit, it would pick it up. Well, after the kids that like me played with it a lot, it stroked the bags out because it'd fill them up tight. And what it had is it had a air compressor for the air suspension, was a little V2 compressor, and then the power steering pump was on the back of it. And it was, I've got it at home. I kept it.
Yep.
Because the old man, the bags blew out, and he went to Cadillac, and they go, "This is what it cost."
$8,000.
Yeah, and he went right directly to the wrecking yard and peeled the springs out of the same year Cadillac.
That's what a lot of people do with those.
And just put springs in it. And it was a fine car even after that. But it was the coolness factor of having air ride on it was really cool.
Find all the holes.
I found all the holes, but some of this stuff is rather uniquely hard to reach. And I know the guys that put this together last used a 3/8 impact ratchet. And they rattled this thing in here because they make about 50 foot-pounds, and that's about how tight some of these bolts were. And these only go to about 20 at the most, because they go in aluminum, a lot of them.
Well, they're in a big hurry.
What, that Harley?
No, the people that put these pumps in.
I said they are in a big hurry, using air tools.
Or electric. Well, yeah, they got to do flat rate to make this stuff pay. And the guys in the office just work them over regular for, gotta go faster.
That's what I told that nurse. You're really moving fast. You must be really good.
I did.
The one that took Mom's oxygen off of her
Yeah.
when it was perfectly fine, and
Yeah.
she got it down to 60. Good job.
Say, I am an expert at this. I trained for this air. You have? Well, you did wrong.
Well, she's very uncomfortable the way that oxygen's on her there.
You're going to be
Well,
uncomfortable when I
what's
throw
really
you out the
uncomfortable?
window.
When her oxygen goes down to 60 and she dies. That's pretty uncomfortable. Get the hell out of here before I kick you out.
Well, the one that I got is one night I stayed over there with Mom till pretty late. It was about midnight. And they come around at midnight and they woke her up, and they give her a bunch of shit right off the bat. And she looked at me and I says, "You need to stop right now because she's gonna smack you." And that old gal went after her again. And Mom turned around, and she wasn't tough enough to knock her to the ground, but she would have if she could have. And I says, you guys all need to leave right now. And
people don't realize that they need to do that to protect their loved ones. 'Cause
well,
they'll kill them.
Exactly.
That's what their job is.
Yeah.
You go to the hospital, if you got a problem, they're thinking, well, he ain't gonna last because we're gonna kill him.
Well,
Well, their first thing they say is,
He ain't gonna make it.
quality of life, if he even makes it, is not going to be good.
So
Who are you to say?
it's my life, not yours. Get
That's
the hell
right.
out of my way.
Rito should have. No. Not going to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't make a call for anybody, but I know for me, I'll fight because I'm a fighter. But if it's the end, let me die on my own.
Well, you gotta. It's your choice. And the problem is you put that little deal in there. Well, if I'm not doing okay, just go ahead and pull the plug.
Oh, they'll pull it.
Well, yeah, a little
Be happy to
premature.
do it.
But,
Thank you.
But it's like, well, it's like they get a finder's fee or something for them bodies when they come out the back. My guy I worked on his truck, he went into the hospital and he says, hey, I'm having a heart attack. And they go, nah, you're good. They turned him around and pushed him out the front door, and he made it just outside the front door in a pile on the ground. They drug him back in, and he was in a coma for just about a month. And they call his mom up and say, hey, you want to pull the plug on this guy because he's going to be a mushroom when he's done. And his mom goes, nah, he's okay. You just need to wait a little bit longer. And like in 3 days, he pops up and goes, what the hell happened to me? And I forget what the doctor's bill on that one was, but it was a lot.
I'm sure.
And he come out of that thing okay. And in the interim time there, he forgot how to smoke, which was a bonus. And then he got busy smoking again.
Didn't you tell me this on the phone the other day?
Yeah. Anyway, he got back to smoking again, and then he ended up with pneumonia, and that stopped his smoking because he could see and move and do everything, but he couldn't breathe. Yeah. And he's like, nah, we're not doing this anymore. So he just quit.
Not a good thing.
He just quit doing that crap.
Little Jared that got hit by the car. It's the anniversary a couple of days ago. And so it's been 26 years, Mike.
That was October, wasn't it?
26, no, it was September 22nd or something like that. Wasn't it? No, it's October 4th.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah, it was
like-
October 4th.
Yeah. And in the hospital, they wanted to operate on his knee. And here he is, he's
Dying.
fighting for his life. And they wanted to operate on his knee.
Ta-da! You can put that belt on there before you did that, or?
Trust me, that belt goes on no matter what you do. Even if I got to cut it in pieces and sew it together.
There you go. So we're looking for no frays, no breaks, no cracks, no
We
all
don't-
nuts and bolts, nothing missing.
Poor little Jared, he cracked his head open. When the mirror hit, the person's mirror hit his head, then it threw him down and it hit his head on the ground. And so it cracked his, and so he had a, when we all left the hospital, of course Jordan stayed, and she called, said, Steve, I think you better get back up here. They just said Jared went brain dead. Oh,
I told him to cut the top of his.
I went, no, that did not compute to me. I just said on the phone, no, 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 no.
But,
Bad dream, get off the phone.
call back when you got better news.
Yeah.
Well, they said it could get an infection in his brain if they cut his top of his skull off because it was swollen. So, well, will the swelling kill him?
When it's swelling like that, you always poke a hole in their skull or take it and poke a hole in it.
Yeah, and Jordan didn't want to do that.
Well, it isn't exactly their problem, so they need to stay out of it. So that's my deal.
If that would have been my son, I would have said, yeah, go ahead.
Well, they said here again, they said he was going to be a vegetable if he lived. How did they know?
Well, that's what they said about Alan and his deal. And there wasn't nothing wrong with him when he come out of that. And okay. It's like going to Mercedes and getting your car worked on. I wouldn't trust them bastards to fix my bicycle.
Right.
And same way with the doctors. They have an agenda all of their own.
Absolutely.
And they don't give a shit.
They get paid
No
more.
And I'm not going to bet so much on the doctors being the bad part of that. Some of them are. Some of them are just a waste of skin. But the facility, the hospital, they are a shithole.
Yeah.
Because they don't give a shit for nothing.
And they have their little Nazi
Regime.
minions to go pull out do their orders. And some of them are very good at it. Saying, she ain't gonna make it. Let's just give her some morphine.
I'm trained.
Make her comfortable.
I'm trained in telling you this.
Yeah. Let's just give her some morphine. Let her relax.
Let her rest
and
in peace,
pass away peacefully.
just like she wants to.
David said, have you ever had morphine? Were you there on that conversation
Yeah.
when I asked that?
Said he made him feel like shit.
He said, have you ever had morphine, Steve? I said, no, never. He said, they gave me morphine because of my leg. I think I told you this.
Yeah.
He said, he said, that was horrible. He said, I even was thinking about death.
Death is really good.
It messes your mind up.
Death is good.
And like David said,
Life is bad.
David's been through hell. David's been through hell because of his foot. Poor guy. He just wanted to play another set of tennis.
Well, he did. Ended his career.
He said the other day, Joe, he was out by the pool, and he had a tennis racket, and his wife said, see if you can hit a serve. He said, I swung at it, and he went head over heels and wound up in the pool. I said, well, you're lucky you wound it up in the pool. You could have cracked your head open. He said, I had no balance at all.
Did he try it again?
No.
Hey, you got to keep trying.
This is a guy that beat Jimmy Connors.
I'm gonna guess the wife is hoping he'd make that next shot, capsize, cash
she's-
out.
No,
She's a good girl.
She adores
Oh,
him.
is she?
Yes,
She adores him.
Okay, we're down to my prize unit.
Yay!
No, she's a great girl.
Is that going to line up?
Line up with what? There's nothing for it to line up with. I'm gonna do. Well, at least
Wilbur.
I remember that.
That would have been really tough to put on there without that.
What?
Making that bolt head. That'd have been really tough to do. The bit.
Old. No, that's so. Because my experience started out. I started out brazen because my old man wouldn't teach me how to weld. And I don't know as he knew enough about it to be really good at it. But he says, just go burn a box of rod and you'll know all about it. And I'm like, Too easy to pick up bad habits. And I was, shit, 14, 15. And
You had a good dad.
so I took up,
You didn't even know it, did you?
I took up brazen. Well, no, I didn't have any problem with him, but I mean, some of his ways of doing stuff was not my way to do it, because I didn't, I mean, I figured old dad's job was to help a little bit. Keep me from stepping in the wrong hole.
This guy had a nut and bolt shop, you know, had all kinds of screws, nuts, bolts.
Yeah.
And his kid started working for him. He just dumped the whole thing down on the ground. All of the whole shelves, everything went everywhere. He says, okay, put them back in the right stalls.
That's how you learn.
He went, oh my God. They were everywhere. And he had to put them back in there. The right sizes.
When we had our...
I bet he knew where they were.
we had our payphone business. We didn't know what we were up against. And I bet you if the truth was...
That's plenty tight.
I bet you the truth was to be known, Mike. Bill Owen probably thought we might just quit.
Yeah, and him get them.
And then he'd get them.
Yeah.
So, has anybody seen our little belt tensioner gizmo? I must have laid it over here.
Oh, my little...
Yeehaw.
My
okay.
little belt tensioner.
That little piece I just fixed.
Yeah.
There's the
counterpart to it.
that one there's just about dead.
Dead.
But the the thing about this is, I don't know if I can get it apart. But
Don't break it.
Well, I don't think you're gonna break this one. But it needs a little idler there because the bearing's bad. But see, it's got a regular bolt in it, and I'm like, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah, bastards.
And it's a smooth pulley. It's the same. This is the same part that one is. So why did we get jerked off all day?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. This is basically one of these bolts, a little bit shorter. And then it has a big flat washer over it. Oh, look at that.
Should we have gotten another one of them things? That you say the bearings are not good on that?
The Jeep guy said this is 23 bucks. This is about a $12 part. I think you can probably get it from any of those other parts guys.
Should we wait until tomorrow then?
So the little gizmo I built there, because of the way it's made, I'm pretty sure that you guys could put a bolt that's this size in it and put a big flat washer over the top of it, and she'd be fine.
What, that one down there that you made?
Yeah.
Well, why in the hell would I want to do that?
Well, because that's how they did it on this one.
Well, I like your invention.
Okay, but this is kind of cool that you can, this gives us an option here. This, has anybody got a knife, pocket knife?
I do, in the house.
I need something pretty pointy, and I'll dig this open and we'll fill it full of grease.
Okay. I'll get you something I don't care about you ruining.
I just need the point. I'm gonna go in.
You can just pick that out of there.
I'm gonna pick that seal out of there and pack that bearing full of grease.
Okay,
And put
all
the
right.
seal back.
I'll get you something.
Seal out of.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna take that seal out of the side of that seal bearing.
And pack it with grease?
Pack it with grease. Because I'm gonna bet when you get it in there, you're gonna see that it's completely
dry. And go in places, fishing and hunting if we want.
Where'd that little bracket go that I had?
What bracket?
The one that goes on there.
This?
Yeah, perfect. You did good.
He could not He couldn't. He couldn't keep his hands off him.
You're darn right. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what they're for. Hold on to.
Yeah.
That's not 15 millimeter, but this is 5/8. There we go. That's 16 millimeter. And all that does is hold that stupid ass air cleaner piece on there.
Damn. Stupid ass air cleaner piece.
This thing's pretty warm, actually.
It is, yeah.
That works perfect. So, okay, here's the backyard school
Look at your
for
dog.
fixing your. I'm gonna grease your handle on your knife.
Look at him.
Guess to film. Can you see?
Not a thing.
Where to go?
Looks a little dry in there,
Looks a
don't
little
it?
dry and dirty.
The dust poofed out on you.
That's well, see, that's why I took this apart, because
Yeah, you can hear it.
it's rattling. This looks like a bus grease monkey wheel bearing.
Whoop, we'll have to edit that out.
Well, every time he gets one, he gets all the wheel bearings are bad.
Yeah.
So, from what I can tell, all the little balls. Oops.
All my little balls are in order. One's a little higher than
that's
the
all good. So here's the deal. Come over here to the grease monkey and start putting grease in this baby.
Powering off. I guess my battery's dead.
You know, there's a grease monkey, and it's got a guy with that.
Pistons.
Yeah, he's.
It's a monkey with pistons for arms or something.
And
My
all,
battery's dead, Mike.
and all Scott Crosby did was put bus in front of it.
Well,
That's pretty smart, actually.
the thing that's, you know where that term came from, grease monkey?
Probably from the military.
Uh-uh.
I don't know.
That came out of Ford Motor Company, because their operation had so many lathes and machines, and all that was run with shafts down through the ceiling with Babbitt bearings.
Yeah.
And then they had belts, flat belts to run the lathes and all that stuff. So they would get kids that were in their teens and have them climbing in the rafters, greasing those bearings, on those shafts.
So they call them grease monkeys.
And they called them grease monkeys, and that's where that came from. By virtue of having a Ford. The Ford factory had grease monkeys. Everybody, hung on to the term because it's cute, but I'm gonna guess the guys that did that work earned their keep.
I'll bet they did.
I wonder, and you never hear about anybody that fell out of the rafters at the Ford Motor Company. I'm gonna guess they went out the back door and they buried them in the backyard.
Crippled.
Yeah. So this part here, this seal goes back in here. You got to kind of clean it up enough you can see, but there's enough grease in there now.
We're gonna grab those fillets.
You did? No way.
He ate them all.
Liar.
He's never done that. He's never gotten the trash. He's never. Now Alizé
Oh yeah,
would get up on the table.
You know, it's amazing Alizé didn't die sooner
Why?
from the stuff that she had eaten.
Oh,
That don't bother them.
Like it was like if I would have eaten that much, I'd be like sick for a month.
So this guy they were doing Thanksgiving dinner and they had a
Bravo.
whole ham with the bone in it.
he ate it all.
So they took off to let the ham cool off so they could have dinner. Well, when they come back, there was no ham, there
No
was
bone.
no bone,
Nothing.
and it was a lab, and it was brown. And they just laid there. And I'm like,
He had a good meal.
it was almost the last one too.
Why? What happened? Somebody beat him up?
Because the guy was upset because his Thanksgiving dinner disappeared.
Can't blame the dog for that.
Oh yeah, because
Could you imagine?
you set the dog up is what you did.
Yeah. Could you imagine the appetite those dogs have, and then that, and the snout they have? How good that must have smelled.
He enjoyed it.
That's why those steaks in there, you know, that's like torture to an animal.
But I've had Frisco because he finally got tall enough that he could look over the edge of the counter. I had him snitch something one time, and he doesn't. I never give him shit about it or nothing. I'm like, where'd my shit go? He's like, oh, I get it. But he's
Turbo.
so this is one of those repairs that will make it last for quite a while.
Right. Get it off your dog.
Oh, I just had to.
There's more video of that dog.
There's not.
There isn't?
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. If there's more, then it hasn't done yet. Right, Joe?
Right. I'm busy wiping grease. Oh yeah, now it's solid.
No, it won't move.
Pretty much. So that goes on there. This goes in here.
Some guy ran into the back of one of the buses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And,
kind of hard to miss, ain't it?
Well, he said he was getting getting a drink of his soft drink, and he looked down, he looked back up, and boom, shakalaka like a boom. And it was one of those special ed buses.
Old.
Said I had a wheelchair in the back. She said I had a wheelchair in the back, fully, you know, seat belted down,
Tied down.
and all the kids and everything were okay. They were just a little bit excited.
Yeah. That happens to them. Feel how hard that is to.
Yeah, that's nice. That is nice.
It'll take a little bit.
Make Mickey go out and go potty.
There we go.
And it's cold too, so
Once that grease gets in there like it's supposed to, this will be fine for a while. That other one's not too bad, but when they get like this one, you have to grease them or they'll commit suicide. Which makes life a little more miserable than it should be.
right. Maybe that's a little sound we were hearing, that.
Yeah. That's those kind of sounds you get to hear.
Yeah.
Is crap like that where these bearings run dry. And then they start going screech, and then the smoke rolls off and into the hood, and it's like, what the hell happened? And then you find down there at the bottom the little pulley's smoking. It's like, there you go, dude.
And there you go.
So this goes down here. It goes around like that. And the little peg goes in the hole. The bolt goes on. Tighten me, tighten me, tighten me.
Please tighten me.
That sucks. Ew. Oh, that hole in that pump is a little different than the other one was. So this is one of them where you do her with the end wrench. But And yeah, the reason we're working on it is they made all that shit too flimsy. If they'd have made that shit so it was good, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. This thing would run forever.
They can't have that.
I know.
They wouldn't have no business. One car for their whole life.
Oh yeah.
Neener, neener, neener.
I think you can probably get another couple years out of the old girl. It's never been touched. Well, they had it tuned up and they put injectors in it a few years ago, and it's never been touched other than that in its whole life. It's 1973. Well, we actually started this one up so I could hear it run, because normally I don't get to hear them run anymore. Everybody's just, oh fuck, we just tore it apart for you, so it's easy. Gun show's coming up here pretty soon, and he's same age I am.
490.
So he's going to do that kind of shit, and this other stuff can kind of go by the wayside. Well, he's got a lot of holes to do before the end of the year, because they had a lot of wells go dry up here. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, that's what's happened here. The water table dropped and everybody's well went dry.
Except mine.
Except ours.
So that's
It's
Ours
probably
is only 400 feet deep, though.
yeah.
I guess we went to 264 feet.
Yeah. But it's 400 feet to the bottom.
Yeah, because
We could have went.
So
our
all the
pipe
way.
wrench is down there.
We could
yeah.
have went further.
Anyway,
If you want to go further,
I'm
it's just-
standing right here working on their Jeep. They have a Jeep, and the water pump committed suicide. It's the only set of wheels they got besides their Mercedes.
It's kind of a rainy day. We kind of got over our COVID. Joe put it all together, and Joe went home and he got sick. I got sick for 3 weeks. During that time, Steve got better, went back to work, and Joe put the water pump and everything in there, and he packed the bearings, and it hasn't had any problems whatsoever. It's not leaking. There's no spots of water or anything on the concrete after I get off work. And here's Steve.
Hey everybody, this is Steve with Fixing with the Long Bros. Do it yourself with Fixing with the Long Bros. And as you can see, it's all put back together. It's all put back together. And Joe did a wonderful job. He worked his little butt off.
I think he went beyond the Call of Duty when
I
he
do
packed
too.
those bearings.
Put all the hoses on, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we didn't get all of it, but I don't know what happened. We all had COVID. We didn't know it at the time. Mike, Joe, and myself. And this is after the fact. When I was trying to put the video back together, it all I didn't have the ending. I don't know if we pushed the button and didn't turn the camera on. I don't know what happened.
I had a whole bunch of corrupted files
And stuff. So anyway, you deserve to see the end of this, and it's all put back together. As you can see, no leaks, hoses are all in, it's running right now.
No missing nuts or bolts?
No missing nuts or bolts. All the wires are connected, and all the no airs or anything on the dash. Everything's working. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
And we have contacted Joe all through this time. He is still not feeling very well.
Yeah.
He is coughing a lot. His energy level is down like mine was and Steve's. But I told him, you know, take care of yourself. And we're in contact with him constantly. He's like a brother to me.
Yep. He's laying low. So obviously we infected him. We told him not to come because we didn't know what our results was going to be. Then we tested positive. So
our neighbor
we're feeling
died.
better. Everything's good. Joe's gonna be fine. He sounds a lot better, but he's still hacking and coughing. So anyway, that's it. Subscribe, push the bell, and thumbs up. Thanks.
Got the feeling in your bones, make you feel right at home. Honey, does it well, keep me dancing till I'm dead. 'Cause I could run a mile like this, head over heels, feels like this. The sun has got me on my track, I ain't never looking back. Inside the depths of stone, voice will echo me no phone. Ruled by the laws above, nature shows me, makes me taught.